A returning guest, Krupa Patel, is here with us from The Attention Seeker. They are LinkedIn experts. It's the platform that they drive business through. And they're going to be talking about Krupa is going to be talking about what strengths does LinkedIn have. So it's been a big year of learning and lots of new developments. And of course, LinkedIn is an ever-changing platform. And so I'm really interested to hear, since I've listened to sessions throughout the year, hear what's happening now on LinkedIn and how we can use it more efficiently. It's a brilliant platform for talking to other professionals or maybe people who make decisions. And so if that's something that you need to do in your business, this might be the platform for you. Now, if you're joining us from YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, you can get your questions answered by Krupa by dropping them in the chat functions and the comment functions or the Q&A functions here on Zoom. Welcome, Krupa. Thank you so much for joining me again. We always love your sessions.
No problem. Hey, guys. I love being here as well.
Indeed. We're just wrapping. It's almost like this is the perfect time of year to do a session like this, because it's the end of, doesn't matter, somebody might be watching this later, but this is an end of year session. So, lots of things have happened throughout 2021. That's when this is being filmed. And we're going to get some good insight today. I'll drop off. I'll let you drive.
Perfect. Thank you. Hey guys. So I'm Krupa and I work at The Attention Seeker. So today I really wanted to talk about LinkedIn, and this entire year I've spent getting familiar with LinkedIn. So I've been trying to figure out, who should use LinkedIn, why people should use LinkedIn. And, as a company, we, predominantly are always doing branding, personal branding and marketing and lead gen and all these things that we've done, all these products that we've sold all through LinkedIn. And so I found that, even through the past 12 months, especially in the past, 4 or 5 months, it's completely changed. There's a lot of things you can and can't do on LinkedIn. There's certain things around APIs and there's certain things around, reach, organic reach and lead gen and things like that. So I just really wanted to talk today about a couple of those learnings that I've had, and hopefully this will be able to help you guys as well through your social media journeys, or if you want to kickstart in the new year on LinkedIn, hopefully there's something that you can take away from this. Please do put some comments and questions in any of the platforms question boxes that you are watching on, because it's awesome to hear people's feedback, and also if there's anything that we can answer today for you or maybe get back to you on, that would be great. So firstly, I guess LinkedIn is a great way to build your personal brand. So this is one of the biggest things that I've found, and I think as a company we've realized this year, is it's an awesome platform because you can actually target and reach very specific people. So when I first started, I always thought of LinkedIn as a platform that recruiters used, and a platform that, someone who maybe is a graduate or very new to the industry may not be able to get on, they're not going to really get a good response. But I found that I was wrong, obviously. And, I started putting myself out there on LinkedIn, and I saw that people are actually really nice, and people really want to connect with you, and people really want to help out where they can, whether it's just cheering you on when you're putting content out, or whether it's, putting you in touch with the right people. And so LinkedIn, for me, I think I've learned a lot, is that it is for everybody. So when we ask ourselves, should I really be on LinkedIn? The answer is yes, you should be on LinkedIn. And there's a lot of different ways you can use LinkedIn. So a lot of people use it obviously to run ads. You could do LinkedIn ads, and there are specifics around who you can target, and you can change the ad image and what type of ad. Is it a video? Is it a photo? There's all these things you can do to generate leads or revenue generation, right? But then there's also a part of LinkedIn, and this is something that we do at The Attention Seeker for a lot of our clients, and it's the outreach, or the messaging or the connecting part of LinkedIn, which I find one of the most valuable tools that LinkedIn has. Is you can actually sit down, you can figure out who your target audience are right now at this point in time, and you can go through your LinkedIn list of connections, and you can be like, well, are the people that I'm trying to target, or the people that I'm trying to be heard by, or the people that I'm trying to sell my product or service to, are they actually in this list? Are they on this list of connections that I have? And well, if they're not, then that's okay, because now you've identified that, it might not match. But what you can do is use LinkedIn's tools that they've got, or Sales Navigator. You can use all these things that they have, and you can actually filter through and be like, okay, I want people in the construction industry, and I want people in marketing, and I want people in media, and I want people in the hospitality industry. And you can actually filter through and find very specific people to connect with. And not even that, if you go deeper, you can go job title. So I want someone who's chief of security, and I want someone who's a strategic planner, and I want someone who's a builder and developer and commercial property manager. You can actually get very specific, which is great when you're a business owner, because if you're trying to utilize a tool like LinkedIn, it is one of the very few social media platforms that actually allows you to have such a big amount of control on who you connect with. Like Facebook, there's obviously an accept and a decline button, or Instagram has, you can accept the follower or you can decline the follower, or if you're in public, everybody can see you. But with LinkedIn, I found that it's a place that you can actually control who you have on your platform and who you connect with, and who sees your your content or your ads or whatever you're putting out. And I think that's quite powerful, because whenever people think about social media, especially if you're a company or if you are a person who doesn't use social media, LinkedIn can be quite overwhelming. Like I know it was for me, because I was like an avid, Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram user. And then when I started using LinkedIn, I almost felt like an imposter. I was like, should I even be posting stuff on here? Like what kind of gives me the right? And that brings me to my second point, that LinkedIn is a great platform for you to build authority on. So, building authority doesn't come overnight. So when you want to build authority, you need to develop a brand, and you need to really strengthen that brand. And by using LinkedIn to do this, it increases your chances and increases your visibility as an individual. And it even allows you to obviously raise your company or your business's profile at the same time. So for example, you can share examples of your work, you can share client testimonials, you can share all the, people that you're working with on your personal profile to then, navigate people towards your company. But we find that a lot of people ask us, they're like, why are we branding ourselves? Why are we putting content on, our personal profile, like on Krupa's profile, as opposed to, the attention seeker or cakes they capture? Like, why are we doing that on your personal profile? And the reason is that, personal brand needs to be built, because that's what builds trust, and trust then alternatively builds authority online, right? And authority in your marketplace, in your industry, in front of your peers, and in front of ultimately the connections that you are actively seeking to make on LinkedIn. And, a lot of clients, when we explain this to them, they just realize that, they are so well known in the industry, but when they step back and when they look online, it's like a completely different world, because they're well known because they've gone to networking groups and they've met people through people and referrals and, BNIs and all these things. But when you step online, you're like this completely new person who's entering this environment, right? That you just don't know. You don't know anything in. And that's for most people. Like there's a lot of people out there. There's very few people out there who actually like putting their face out there and like, putting their brand out there and put content out every day. Like it's a really hard thing to do. And it's a hard thing to do if you are nervous or if you lack confidence. But this year, if it's taught me anything, is that having a personal brand is so valuable, and LinkedIn is an awesome platform for you to do that on. And I think a big sort of thing about that is people, when we say like, do you want to be a thought leader, or do you want to have authority over a certain subject matter, or do you want to be an SME, or do you want to, be known for somebody who knows all about the construction industry, all about planning, or, whatever it may be. And people kind of shy away because they hear this word authority. And I feel like it's got a lot of negative connotations, but in actual fact, having authority just means that people know and trust you and know that everything that you put out is going to be not necessarily correct, like factually, but it's going to add value in some way, shape, or form. And I feel like LinkedIn is a great way to do that. You see influencers and, a lot of influencers on Instagram, they all blow up because they're putting content out there daily, and that's what they do. They're in paid partnerships with a lot of brands and, sponsorships and ads and all that sort of stuff. And that platform works great for a lot of companies who are in, B2C, business to consumer, a type of market. Whereas if you are, a professional and you do a lot of B2B business, LinkedIn is a great place for you. And what I've very recently learned is that in the past couple of months is that LinkedIn has great organic reach capabilities. So that's at the moment, like everything, social media platforms are always changing, the algorithms changing, all these things that they can and cannot do. But at the moment, LinkedIn is great for getting organic reach, which means you don't have to put money behind stuff. Like with Instagram and Facebook, I feel that to get a lot of success, I may be wrong, I'm not the expert on those platforms, but organic reach is really hard to get unless you've, I don't know, you've got something that's out of this world, or you've really nailed the strategy, but it's really hard to get people to follow you. It's really hard to get those likes by the right type of people. And I think you just need to push a lot of money behind your posts and promote them and do the ads and all that sort of stuff on those two platforms. Whereas on LinkedIn right now, at least, you can get really good reach, which means that by just constantly putting content out there, you'll be able to get to all those people that are in your connection list. And I think when I say constantly, people are taken aback and they're like, what does constantly mean? And I think, constantly, I've talked about this before, is that even if you're putting out 5 posts a week, so Monday to Friday, let's say you're not posting on Saturday, Sunday, a lot of those people in your list are probably going to see 1 or 2 posts a week max. They're not going to see all 5 of those posts. So I think one of LinkedIn's strengths are that they don't bombard you with everyone's content. Like there's a very organized or disciplined way that LinkedIn shows you content on the newsfeed, and it's not overwhelming, and you won't just see my face come up 5 times through the week. That's not going to happen unless, of course, my post is blowing up and there's a lot of people engaging with it and commenting or sharing. Then that's a slightly different thing, but that's not going to happen 5 times a week, right? If it does, then please tell me how you do it, and maybe we can help each other out. But it's really hard to get to that level. And I think so just realizing that LinkedIn is a very organized and it's not overwhelming. It's not an overwhelming platform once you actually get into it. And then I think thirdly, when you are searching, like let's say you Google yourself, you'll realize that there's a lot of website links that come up, and LinkedIn actually ranks really well on Google. So like anytime I'm typing in my name to look up, like to see where what is coming up, is my website ranking better and things like that, or is the attention seeker coming up, I've realized that my LinkedIn profile is about 3rd maybe in the rankings last time I checked, which is great. Like it's another way for you to be found, especially if you're, trying to build that online presence. And if people are, people have heard about you, or people want to know more about you, or whatever it may be, you've just, done a call with somebody and you want to connect with them, or they want to connect with you, they can simply type in your name and hopefully your LinkedIn should come up. Like that's awesome. That's just free advertising, right? Like on Google, which is great, and it's never going to do any harm. And then I guess the third thing is that LinkedIn is great for networking. So if I've learned anything this year, it's that you have to build a network, whether that's a network online of people, whether that's a network like in person, especially with, COVID going around, and I think three lockdowns that we had. All we did was catch up with people, meet people on Zoom. And I think a lot of you will be in the same boat where you've just been kind of stuck to your screen, Zooming people using Teams or Google Hangouts or whatever it may be. And that all counts as networking. Like if I've learned anything, it's that it doesn't have to be in person. And LinkedIn is such a great way for you to build that network of people around you, especially if you're a business. Like I say this from a small business point of view. If you are a business that's like a 1 to 5 man band, right? Like you've just got a small team. And if every one of those people in your team have an online presence or a part of a networking group and things like that, it's gonna be so beneficial in the long term, because it's really hard to just walk up to people unless it's an organized affair and be like, hey, I'm Krupa, nice to meet you. Like I work at the Attention Seeker. It's very rare that people are going to do this, but LinkedIn kind of softens the blow, right? LinkedIn kind of primes and preps you for the real world. So if I'm like, hey, there's this really awesome person that I've wanted to connect with, he's a creative director at Ogilvy, right? Like let's say that's someone I've been wanting to get in touch with. Well, the first thing I can do is just connect with him on LinkedIn, right? What's the worst that could happen? That he could say no? Like the chances of someone not accepting your connection they're there. People can decline them, but that's fine. You just move on, and maybe there's another way that you can connect with them, or maybe they will reach out to you. Maybe they'll see your content. There's all these other things that can happen, but the chances of me connecting with him on LinkedIn are a lot higher than me meeting him at an event that we may or may not bump into in the same space at the same time, right? So I think like just realizing the power of networking through online platforms has really changed my view on LinkedIn. And I think, I've been able to really utilize that, and through the messaging tool as well, like on LinkedIn. So when you connect with people, you can actually send them a personalized message. And in that message, like don't try and sell. Like that's one of the biggest things that we've learned, especially dealing with clients. Like don't try and sell your product. I'm like, hey, I'm Krupa, and I would love to help you build your personal brand on LinkedIn. Like if someone saw that, they're going to be like, this girl is just trying to sell me something. But if you just open with something super light, super easy, and leave the ball in the person's court who you're trying to connect with, they will reciprocate, right? Like they will have a look at your profile and they'll be like, do I want to connect with this person? And if you haven't tried to sell to them, chances are yes. And I have seen that when messages come through that people that sound like ads or sound like people who want me to get on board with a product or service that they offer, I do think about it, and I do hesitate a little bit, with just accepting that, because I'm like, is this what I'm going to keep getting on my LinkedIn feed? So I think just keeping little things like that in mind, because it might seem harmless at the time and it might not seem like you are selling, but maybe get like a couple of people to read it before you send it off. And also, making sure that you customize those messages as well, because sometimes there's a different type of target audience that needs to be spoken to in a specific way, and then maybe there's another type of target audience that needs to be spoken to in a specific way. So just not putting a blanket approach to messaging is something that I've learned as well. And there's all these sort of things that you can do to automatically set these things up. If you've got a team to help you, just utilize them. And I would say like get your staff, if you've got staff in a team or employees, to really start connecting with people as well, because the more they do that, the more they will build their personal brand, but also the company that they work for in turn, like the owner of the company, also benefits from this. And I think everyone kind of benefits in the long term, because when you think about personal brand, and then when you think about all the strengths that LinkedIn has, who's it really benefiting, right? Like it's benefiting me if I'm doing all of this on LinkedIn daily or on social channels daily, and if I'm building up my network, because like you might not stay in the role that you're in forever. But you do want to be known. You want to have a voice. You want to be known as somebody who does know about a certain subject matter, or the person who just puts out awesome content, or the person who always has a calendar booked with meetings because they're just connecting with heaps of people on LinkedIn. Like, you want to be known for something, and LinkedIn is a great way to kind of just ease into that, especially if you are an introvert and, or an introverted extrovert like me, right? You don't want to just walk up to random people and introduce yourself. Like, I find that really hard to do, but one of LinkedIn's strengths is just being able to connect with the people that you want to connect with. And I think that's a really powerful thing. And it's a feature that not a lot of the other social media platforms have. Another thing about LinkedIn that I've found is that we obviously have like a wide range of clients. We've got clients from like security to mortgage advising to, tradies, to all types of different industries. And I found that there's only so much that you can know about these industries. And LinkedIn is a great place to do research. So you can actually go and find the competitors. You can find target audiences that they'd want to be connected to. You can actually do a very in-depth bit of research. You can research other companies on there. And it's a great way for you to kind of just expand your knowledge as well, especially if you work with different people in different industries. It's always good to have a little bit of like little nuggets of information that you can kind of hold on to for the right, for the right conversation or the right opportunity. And sometimes just knowing those things can push a deal over the line, right? Like people will be like, oh, well, she actually knows about construction. Maybe they do know what they're doing. There's just always these little bits of information that you could find on LinkedIn. And I found that, I've been working in marketing and design for about 5 years now. And there's just so many people in UK and US that I've been able to connect with. I've been able to read their articles, read their posts that they put out every day, and just like gain this wealth of knowledge. And I think that is something that is very underutilized on LinkedIn, is that people write all these articles and people create all these videos and spend a lot of time creating content. And I think, for me, it's been a goal of mine to, make sure I actually sit there and I read at least 5 posts or 5 articles a week and make a valuable comment, or a comment that will add value to the person or the author who's put it out there, right? Like, that's not only a great way to cheer them on and be a little cheerleader for the person who's putting out content and encourage them to put out more, and lets them know that someone is actually listening or reading what they're putting out. And it also gets you connected to that person, right? So you're kind of doing all 3 things at once. And I think that just having a small goal like that, where you can make sure that you're doing 5 comments a week or whatever it may be, it really will just help you ease into the process of creating content. And that's all we've been talking about this year, right? It's just how to create content and how to create better content. And we've been on that journey ourselves this year at The Attention Seeker, especially trying to, figure out what our, what the heck we're actually doing, right? Like, we're constantly changing and evolving. And I think that's because LinkedIn is constantly changing and evolving. And things that we used to do, like lead generation in January or February, this year, it's like physically impossible to do that anymore. You can't even do that. So you just have to always be around LinkedIn and just checking in on LinkedIn and use LinkedIn, because then you'll realize all the things that they're taking away and adding and how they can help and impact your business. And I think just lastly, like, of course, being in lockdown, everyone has already been filling up their calendars, but for us, and especially Stanley, who is the owner of The Attention Seeker, like, I know that he had a goal. I think it was to book 20 meetings a week. And that's not just exclusive to people that he knows, right? It's people that he's connecting with on LinkedIn. It's people that he's messaging. It's, offering 30 minutes of consultation time for free to just like figure out how to optimize your profile, and just things like that you can really do. And that adds a lot of credibility to people. Like, people are like, oh, this person actually wants to take time out of their busy day to talk to me. It's like, yeah, well, actually, you're not just going to try and sell to everybody that you meet, right? You just can't. It's just not a good look. But what you can do is get to know the person and let them talk the entire meeting and let them tell you about their business and what they do. And maybe then you can offer some sort of help for them, right? Help or advice, as opposed to sell your product to them. So I think, these are the things that I've learned on LinkedIn this year. LinkedIn does have a lot of strengths. And I think at the moment it is, in my eyes, the best platform to be on if you own a business, especially if you want to create a personal brand, or especially if you are an employee like me who, has career goals and wants to meet all these people and connect with all these people and just make a name for herself or himself. Like, this is the platform you need to be on. And I would encourage all of you, especially in the new year, to jump onto LinkedIn, definitely connect with me. And, if you did want some help around LinkedIn, we've got some ebooks that we've designed that we'd love to send out to everybody as well. So, just get in touch. We are always happy to help. Make sure that your profile is optimized and just take a little look and just offer any sort of feedback we can to get your personal brand stronger in the new year. That's pretty much it. It's what I've learned. If anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Just have a look.
Hi, I was just checking the other platforms because there's some folks tuning in on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. So just making sure there wasn't any questions there, but there isn't. But I think that, one of the great things about your session is we just kind of listen along and get some really good advice, and I know after listening to that, I'm kind of like, that's really interesting, but I also don't have any questions, and that's okay. We don't have to have questions every session, sometimes it's just really good information, good reminders, or, little tips and tricks that we can apply to our businesses in order to help them to grow. I personally really love LinkedIn myself, I think it's just a really positive platform where people celebrate other people's successes. And to me, that's so nice. It's not like the bathroom wall of social media platforms, where it just often, most of the time, it doesn't have like anything political. It doesn't have anything, that can get everyone riled up. It's generally just, hey, look at what we did, that's awesome, or hey, look at what these guys are doing, it's awesome. And I find that quite inspiring. I actually find I've made a rule that I don't do LinkedIn on the weekend because I feel like that's my work, that's work stuff. But sometimes I almost want to check it just to see what people are doing, because I enjoy it more than some of the other platforms, to be honest.
And I think like LinkedIn is one of the platforms that isn't curated. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to have a curated feed like you do on Instagram. Like, when you're trying to be an influencer and things like that, there's a lot of pressure on making sure that the photo quality is good and the video content is amazing and that it all looks beautifully presented in the grid. But like, that takes a lot of time and effort, and I love people who have the ability to do that. But at the same time, LinkedIn will not display your posts in that format. So it takes a little bit of the pressure off, especially if you're busy running your business, right, or doing your job, and that's not a huge part of it. Like, it doesn't matter if you're just taking a quick little talking head video on your phone and posting it. It's about what you're saying and the value that you're adding to the network that you've built.
So a question here from Felicity: what are some ways to promote a new business as opposed to a personal profile on LinkedIn?
I think, Felicity, like on LinkedIn, obviously can create a company page on your LinkedIn profile. So when you've got your jobs, make sure it says working at, like Digital Boost, and then you've got a Digital Boost company page or whatever your business is. And then be posting regularly on your business page. But the way that you're going to drive people to actually go and look at that content is through your personal profile. So you can simply share those posts, which won't get a lot of organic reach, but it is something small that you can start off with. But at the same time, like, I can't focus enough on personal brand and the impact that it has. And personal brand doesn't mean you have to have photos of yourself, get a shoot and do all these things. It can be it can be like a multitude of different things that you want to put out there. It can be, polls, it can be articles that you write about your company. It could be, from clients, like clients who've bought your product and the reviews or the testimonial that they want to leave you. It can be videos, it can be a podcast, it can be just simply sharing industry news, and then always relating it somehow to your business and your company and your, what you're providing to people, the service that you're providing. Because company pages don't do super well on LinkedIn. I don't know what their stats are or why it's like that, to be honest, but we just find that the reason that we don't do company pages or company promotion is just because personal brand works way better, and we've been able to see the results in getting traction to the company page after we've built a personal profile for people.
Yeah, I mean, I always say to folks, hey, if you want to reach out to me, I'll, do it through my personal page, because I think that the algorithm just prefers personal pages. It's just the way that this algorithm works.
Yeah.
And when you understand that, and I think another great tip that someone told me, it might have been Stanley, it probably was. Or it was you. I don't like, it was definitely, I think it was earlier in the year, so it was probably Stanley because he did those earlier ones. But he said, sharing something from somebody else's page isn't as effective. So I'm like always really conscious of that, of copying the link and then actually creating my own post instead of sharing a post, which, there's all these little tips and tricks just to reach. And I see some people doing it so well. And it's really exciting to see the engagement that can occur on this platform quite organically when you understand it's not super tricky, like with Facebook and IG, that where if you use the same 3 hashtags too many times in a row, then it's like you drop down in ranking. If you use, there's just so many facets.
There's so many things you have to consider when you're on Instagram and trying to get that reach. But LinkedIn, for now, touch wood, has great organic reach. And we were just talking about this yesterday, that like our entire service or product that we sell is based on organic reach at the moment, and it's simply because it's so good right now. I barely put up posts because we're still trying to create like a strategy, but I put one up the other day because we got over 2,000 subscribers on our LinkedIn newsletter, which is another thing that LinkedIn has started, which is great, because people always we were like, oh, we don't want to do it through MailChimp, you can go to junk, and there's all these things that happen right when you start using another platform to create EDMs. And as great as they are, we are on LinkedIn all day, every day. And so for us, when we saw that LinkedIn allows you to do newsletters, we were like, this is amazing, let's do this. And the first week, by the second week that we put out a newsletter, we had over 2,000 subscribers. And it was just so cool because it's so easy to use. It was the most user-friendly thing you could possibly do a newsletter on. And also LinkedIn was so smart that anyone who subscribed, it would go to the email as well, just like an EDM. So
subscriber.
And I did not expect that, right? It just came in my inbox and the formatting was great. And it takes a couple of minutes to whip up if you've got all the content ready. And people can comment, see the engagement and the activity that's happening on the newsletter, as opposed to some a MailChimp or something where you have to actually go into the analytics and look at the reporting, and people can't see that. Whereas on LinkedIn, you can just celebrate the success that each newsletter has each week. You too.
Attention seeker. So much luck and good fortune in the new year.
Yes, to you too, and everyone watching as well. Have a great new year and be safe.
Indeed. All right, we'll see you next time. Oh, wait. Oops. Thanks. Oh. And thank you for helping create a list of stuff to do and improve. In your opinion, what's the best type of post to feature? I've found video and pictures get more views compared to text only. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I think video is killing it on all platforms at the moment, whether you're on Instagram or LinkedIn. Video is just king at the moment. Doesn't matter what type of video. You don't have to have a whole production behind it. Just set up a camera, do what you need to do. But the video and then image and then just text. But there's a girl that you guys should follow on LinkedIn. Let me just grab her name actually. She does awesome text-based posts. I'm actually going to find her. So her company is called Clout.
Is that with a K or a C?
With a K, yeah, with a K. Sorry, I'm just going to get her name. Here it is. So her name is Amelia Sordell. So it's Amelia and then Sordell, and her company is called Clout with a K. And so she does these awesome like text-based posts, and she just kills the game. Like she gets like over 1,000, like 1,500 likes and like hundreds and hundreds of comments, because what she has to say is so relevant, it is so current, and it is on the verge of like aggravating the person who's reading it. But she's just so honest, and that's her brand. That's her brand that she's built. And I just love following her. And she just does a lot of text-based posts. So if that's something that you want to do and try, like definitely check out her profile.
I've just dropped it in all the chats.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys can all have a look. And she's even got fire next to her name. She's hot.
Yeah, exactly. And she's a LinkedIn influencer. She's got like 13,000 or something, or something along those lines, followers. And she's in 78,000, sorry, that was 13,000 views. 78,000 followers on LinkedIn, which is like outrageous. So she must be doing something right. So definitely check out her profile and send her a connection if you're brave enough.
Cool. All right. Well, let's leave it at that. Thanks, Krupa. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. And Krupa, see you maybe